What's going on, guys? DC here, and today I'm going to go over how to get a job in cybersecurity. So why cybersecurity? There's lots of opportunity for growth in cybersecurity at the moment. It has a lot of prestige. It sounds great. There is also a skilled workers gap at the moment, pretty much worldwide, for skilled cybersecurity professionals. And what I mean by that is people who have qualifications that express that they can do the job in cybersecurity. A lot of the people who are applying for cybersecurity jobs or who are currently working in cybersecurity don't have an awful lot of experience in it because it is, I guess, new. But there's a good thing about cybersecurity is that everyone has their own version of how they got to where they are. And I'll quickly go over my story. I went to, after school, I went to TAFE. It used to be called a network engineering course, and it's basically just a diploma on networking, very general course. I did this because my high school score was not great at all. I don't know, this is just a diploma level, by the way. It's not a degree, it's just diploma. So I did a diploma in network engineering, and after that I did a diploma in web design and media. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go at the time with computers or what I wanted. I sort of thought in my head I really want to have my own computer shop doing computer repairs. That was the dream at the time. While I was studying the web design and media course, I started working for a small business, and what I was doing there, I was driving around to mostly old people's houses, fixing their computers, giving really basic IT support. Nothing terribly exciting. I did learn a lot in this job, and yeah, it was good at the time. I worked there for just over a year. After this, I continued studying. I went to university and completed a computer science degree. This was really what changed my outlook on IT and sort of pushed me forward to go further with what I was doing. After university and that first job that I had fixing computers for older people, I worked for the local government as a network administrator for schools, so schools around Queensland in Australia. This environment was pretty large and it was a government role, which was good. I quickly outgrew this job because it was a part-time position and I was getting a little bit bored with the very BAU sort of tasks every day. So after this, I decided to start my own business and I opened a computer shop. Sort of had that running for a few years. I moved on to work for a managed service provider, and yeah, at this place I came across a lot of different technologies. So I managed to convince my boss to pay for me to do a CCNA, and yeah, that sort of elevated me above and beyond just a standard IT guy. So it's sort of, the CCNA really took me from help desk level 1 to level 2 or network engineering roles, which are usually level 3. And I had a fair chunk of experience at the time that, you know, things were sort of looking good. I was sort of going up the scale. I then decided I wanted to broaden, so I went to a company working with mostly virtualization, storage, backups, and did a role as that. So I had the networking side and the systems administration side. I did that purposely because I wanted to get that group of experience to move forward, because at that point I wanted to become an IT manager, but I was probably too young. After this, I worked a whole range of other jobs in networking or systems administration until I decided, while I was working those jobs, I did a whole bunch of other courses, and the first one I did that actually really moved me towards working in security is the Checkpoint R7730. It's basically a firewall certification for managing those specific checkpoint firewalls. Being exposed to security products that were out there really pushed me towards going in that direction. I then did the OSCP. That was really the pinnacle for me. I then moved directly into a government job working in network security specifically, because I had a background in networking and the qualifications for security. And that was sort of my stepping stone into cybersecurity. And that sort of took me to a professional level of cybersecurity. I worked in that position for just under 2 years and have sort of taken a whole bunch of contracting roles in cybersecurity and have done a whole raft of jobs, mostly defensive security. Just because I find it more enjoyable for myself. So moving on, what are my recommendations for people starting out and how they would get into cybersecurity? First things first, do a degree in computer science. I think it's probably the most broad computer related or IT related degree out there. It's difficult. There's some challenges in there, but you learn a lot. After you've finished your degree, you'll probably land a job as either a systems engineer or possibly a network engineer. And in that position, if you haven't already got a CCNA, definitely get a CCNA in routing and switching. It's vital, I feel, for the majority of IT jobs, unless you are going to go down the path of software engineer. As a first job as well, I would at a managed service provider or MSP. And I say that because MSPs are fast-paced, learn a lot about a vast range of technologies. If you work for a government agency or like in-house IT support for a business, you're exposed to one technology usually for that particular solution. So it'll be, Cisco switches here and a Juniper firewall and then a Cisco router or something like this, and it's going to be you're not learning as much as you could, I feel. So if you work for an MSP, it's fast, you learn a lot, you'll have to take in a lot, you're going to have to hit the ground running, you're going to pick up some really good personal skills, working with people over the phone, emails, going out to customer sites. It can be very fun, it can be very challenging, but I'd stick with it. Learn as much as you can, and don't be afraid to ask your boss if he can pay for you to complete certifications in something that you pursue and that maybe fits in with the business. So for example, if you wanted to learn like checkpoint firewalls, for example, and the business sells checkpoint firewalls as a solution and they already have a security team, well, that's a perfect opportunity for you to say, I really want to move into security. Can I do the course for the checkpoint certification? And you guys pay for it, and I'll stick around for another 6 to 12 months. You decide on the terms. So a lot of places will do that. They like the idea that, okay, you want to study, which is great, personal improvement, but you also want to give back to the business for them to pay for it, which is to stick around for another 6 to 12 months, whatever you choose. It works well for you as well because you are picking up those skills, you're keeping a job, you're improving yourself. It's just good. So CCNA, pick up a security technology that you like and run with that initially. And then I would probably do as well, while you're working at this MSP, go for the Security Plus course. It's a good starting course for security, I feel. It's probably one of the first ones I would do after doing a CCNA. Now, also, when you complete these certifications, don't be scared jumping jobs around. There is plenty of work out there for IT professionals, especially ones with security qualifications. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a big skills gap at the moment. These courses are usually done over 4 days to a period of 2 weeks. I would recommend taking a couple of months to study and make sure you get everything right, but you can do it quite quickly and progress through very quickly if you are able to. After you finish the Security Plus course, I would then move on to OSCP and buy an old laptop, and at home sit around with this old laptop, install some Linux distros, specifically the Kali Linux distribution. I have learned so much just from that itself. It's crazy how much you can learn from Kali, and it's sort of that hands-on experience, and you can use that going forward anywhere, especially if you start learning basic bash. You'll definitely use those skills later on. So get an old computer, install Kali Linux on it, or even just run a VM on your computer and run VirtualBox or something like that, and install Kali inside that and go with that for a bit of learning in your spare time, or just for a bit of fun. You can do a whole lot of really fun stuff in there. Nothing illegal though. Another course worth doing that's similar to OSCP, I guess, is the CEH, which is Certified Ethical Hacker course. I don't remember how much it costs, but it's quite useful. It looks great on your LinkedIn profile or resume. Now, once you've gained experience with firewalls and specifically defensive security type solutions like next-gen firewalls and antivirus, move on to a position, like start applying for jobs in defensive security. And I say defensive security instead of offensive security because I find it's an easier stepping stone than going into offensive security or a black hat team. It's much easier to first go to defensive security, and that's essentially your first job in security. It's going to be a really great role. It'll pay very well. Yeah, it's just not quite as full on as an offensive security position. So I would highly recommend doing that first. Now, these are just my recommendations for your career path into cybersecurity. Like I did say earlier, everyone who's currently in cybersecurity has taken a different route. And that's a good thing, because it's good to have diverse experience for people who are in cybersecurity, because you are working with a whole raft of technologies and vulnerabilities, and they're constantly coming out. There's a never-ending list. So don't be scared to alternate from the path or choose another direction. This is just my guide on how to get a job in cybersecurity. If you've liked this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.